Hello everybody and welcome back to another How Would I Judge a Drag Race Season video. This time we have All Stars 5. This is kind of the All Star season that is the most interesting to me. Not like the actual contents of the season, but like most of the other All Star seasons are pretty like beloved. And then there's All Stars 1, which is pretty like maligned, and then All Stars 5 just kind of like exists. It almost feels like it didn't happen. So I decided why not do this one and kick off doing more All-Star seasons of this and also doing more of this kind of video because I haven't done one since Canada versus the World ended over a month ago. So it's been a hot second since I've done one of these, but you know I want to get back into it. Yeah, let's just get going. As always, if you've seen these videos before, the rules to remember are the season has to be as long as the season originally was, which was 8 episodes, 7 competitive, and the finale. And the performances in the challenges need to be based off of how well someone did or how people would predict they would do. So I'm not just going to put somebody that was in the top in the bottom or vice versa, unless there is strong fan support for that being the case. The goal of this video is to act as if I'm the head judge and craft the season however I can imagine and make it as fun and eventful as possible, while also being fair with my judging of the season by combining my own personal tastes and what was shown to us on the show. So let's get started with episode 1, the talent show. I'm going to start off by apologizing for the portraits for the contestants. This is one of very few seasons where they just don't have like a true promo, and they're literally just in this like weirdly like dark lit like backstage looking area with their like entrance looks as their promos. So you know, that's what I decided to use for these. So for this season, we're actually going to be doing the traditional like top 2 All Stars format. I do really like the lip sync assassin format as well. I just think it works better when there's more contestants in the season. Like I think that's why like All Star 6 works very well, because if you had 13 contestants and you had a comeback episode as well, you had like a solid like at least 10 episodes where contestants could win like a challenge, you know. But with this format of the season where there's only like 7 contestants that can win a challenge, and you know you're dwindling down where it's like you're doing this format where you know you have an episode with 4 people and somebody's going to win. It's like it very much leads to kind of the situation I feel like that happened with this season where you had the top 3 each having a win and then one other random person having, you know, a win, and then that just kind of being in and it not feeling like the wins were very distributed throughout the season. Also, the if you're not in the top, you're in the bottom twist. That kind of it didn't really start this season, but it was a bit more egregious this season uh, than All Star 6, and I feel like the seasons before it kind of also kind of tampered a bit with you know, the placements and the way that the season was kind of structured. So since we have 10 contestants this season, it's only an episode season, like, really like all the previous All-Star seasons before it, well, not all of them, but, you know, basically the same, uh, we're going to be doing this format. So originally, India Farrow won this challenge, and I completely agree that India should be in the top. She did a great job with this. Her performance was, like, it was a callback, it made sense, it was funny, she did a good job performing it, the hairography was great. I completely see why she was in the top 2, and I kept her there. Um, Originally, placing high this episode was Alexis Mateo and Ms. Cracker, and I don't think they did bad by any means, but I personally preferred Mariah and Jujubee's performances. A lot of people feel like that Mariah should have been in the top of this challenge, and I completely agree. Her performance was, I think, the most captivating of them all. So I think she definitely should have been in the top 2. And I also really, Jujubee did a great job singing here. Honestly, looking back and thinking of all just like the pure singing performances we've had on talent shows, there are probably a couple of like international ones that I'm like forgetting or haven't seen. But you know, Monet Exchanges in All Star 7 is my favorite, just like pure singing performance. My second favorite, I think, is this one from Jujubee in All Stars 5. It is so good, and I didn't realize how good it was until I rewatched it. I was like, oh my god, this is great. So I decided that Jujubee is high here, but frankly, I think really any of Jujubee, Alexis Mateo, or Ms. Cracker could have been high here, and I would have been like, yeah, whatever. Uh, I kept the bottom three exactly the same. I think they were placed correctly. I think Angina did the best out of the bottom threes. I think Mayhem Miller and Derek Barry just had the most moments where I was like, oh, okay, this isn't really going as planned, it seems, or this isn't, yeah, this just wasn't giving what they were trying to make it give. But the top two is going to be India Farah and Mariah Paris Balenciaga, and they're going to be lip syncing to Livin' La Vida Loca by Ricky Martin. And I do think India Farah would win this. India did a pretty good job originally. She did lose this originally, but I think against Mariah, I just feel like she would win. That's just what my gut tells me. And honestly, I don't think it matters because they both would have gotten rid of Derek Barry. Um, so that is pretty much going to be it. So sorry for Derek Barry. I want to get Derek Barry back on another All Stars. I know she was just on All Stars 5, but like we need her again. Get her on a Versus the World. I would love to see Derek Barry compete on Drag Race again. So yeah, let's move on to episode 2. Alrighty, episode 2, we have the I'm in Love Singing Girl Groups Challenge. So originally in this challenge, Shea Coulee was the winner of it, and I completely agree that Shea Coulee should be in the top here. She did an absolutely amazing job here. Literally bodied the whole performance, did amazing. Um, Originally, Jujubee and Blair St. Clair placed high, and honestly, I really struggled with literally everybody who was in the top or safe that I put. I feel like any of them. I feel like Shea Coulee, very obviously for me, was going to be in the top two, but out of the other five, choosing who else would be in the top two and who would be high was a struggle. I eventually chose Alexis Mateo to be in the top two and Miss Cracker to place high, because I liked a lot of Miss Cracker's references, to Rocky, and like her actual like physical singing, I thought was really good. And Alexis Mateo's was, I think, like the pure funniest verse, just the way that she presented it in the lyrics. So that is the reasoning I went with. And honestly, I feel like by the day, by the fucking minute, the placements for literally any of these top six could change, but this is what I ultimately decided to put here. Um, India Farah is going to place low here, and Mariah Paris Balenciaga and Angina are going to be the bottom two. Originally, all three of them were in the bottom, but I don't do that. I really always have a low and then a bottom two. And I thought out of the three of them that India did the best. Um, I think India had less like mistakes and different things that went wrong with her vocals than Angina and Mariah did. Really, the only part you can point out is like the what is it, the I feel very attacked line. I don't think that was like, it didn't seem almost like that was like her actual like vocal take of it. It was just like a weird choice to not like scream it and instead do like a fake scream. I don't know. But I mean, I prefer like a weird choice that failed over just the vocals not being, not presenting well. So I decided to put India low and Mariah and Angina in the bottom two. The lip sync song is Neutron Dance by the Pointer Sisters. And I think Shea would absolutely kill this. I mean, she did kill it literally when it originally happened. I don't think Alexis would do bad by any means, but I do think that Shea would do better. And Shea originally eliminated Angina here, and I do think the same thing would happen in this scenario. So let us move on to episode 3. Alrighty, episode 3, we had the hotel room design challenge. This one was a bit tricky figuring out how to judge, because I think it would make sense potentially to judge it as teams, um, but I decided to end up judging as individuals. Not gonna lie, partially because I didn't want Shea Coulee to fall into the bottom too. But it was weird because I feel like if you do judge it in teams, then you kind of get a situation where like the worst team would be like Miss Cracker, Shay, and Mariah. But like I don't really think Miss Cracker deserves to be in the bottom for a performance, and I don't really think Shay really deserves it either. Shay did like kind of fine to me, because if you put the other like the jungle team at the bottom, then Jujubee would be in the bottom, and that's just not right. Because Jujubee, I think individually did the best in this challenge. But, our team of two of Blair and Mayhem also did good enough that I don't know, I feel like judging it in teams is kind of not the best move. It's better just judge it individually. And on the actual season, they kind of did this weird, like, split seas almost situation where they, like, kind of judged it in teams, where, like, Jujubee won, but Blair and Mayhem were the high team. I don't like that. So I just decided to judge it individually on my opinion, and this is what I would choose. I do think Jujubee did the best in this challenge. She had the best jokes. She was very funny. I do think the best individual room was Blair and Mayhem, and I think out of the two, I think Blair did better. It was a hard one for me to choose between, but I ended up just choosing Blair because I think Blair just like Mayhem had more jokes, but Blair was more into it for me. Like like Blair the entire time was like, it's rich, and I don't know. I kind of preferred Blair's, but honestly, Mayhem could have been in the top for this. And I think if Mayhem was in the top for this, then it would have ended up in the exact same situation, most likely, where, well, not in the exact same situation. I do think Mayhem would have won lip sync, but I still think Mariah would have gone home. Because that is who everybody voted for in this. Well, actually, no, Mayhem and Alexis voted for Shay, but I do think in the given scenario where India and Mariah are the bottom two here, I still think they probably vote on Mariah. That's my genuine guess. I don't know. I put Alexis and Ms. Cracker as safe. Alexis and Ms. Cracker both did fine jobs in this challenge. Like Alexis had that one funny moment with like the cap of the thing coming off, which is good, but that was really the only good moment. And Miss Cracker, I do think was the best on the like, I want to say Golden Gals, but no, I think that was literally what this one of this most recent challenges. Actually, I guess the second most recent challenge on this season of Drag Race, the Golden Gal Girl Groups was called. I don't remember exactly what that room was called. I bet Shay is low. I do genuinely think if you're ranking them individually, Shay should be low because she did give off the vibes. Her outfit was like her outfit and her like makeup were all good, and she had a couple of funny things in there, but she just kind of paled in comparison to the rest of the contestants that are above her. And then I do think India and Mariah did the worst in this challenge, and they were in the bottom originally. So the lip sync song is Juice. And I do think between Blair and Jujubee would win, maybe? That's my gut guess. I think Blair could win this. I do think if Blair wins it, the exact same situation happens. But I mean, we didn't see Jujubee do like an overwhelmingly good job on this lip sync originally, but I do think her lip sync was like serviceable. And my gut says she'd do better than Blair, but you know, if you think the opposite, you know, go ahead. I can see where you're coming from with that. But yeah, that's what I've decided for this episode. Jujubee's gonna win. Mariah Paris Balenciaga goes home, and we stand Mariah Paris Balenciaga. Get her on another season of Drag Race too. Why the fuck not? I love her. Yeah, let's move on to episode 4. Alrighty, episode 4 is the She MZ challenge, and I kept basically all the placements the same, except instead of Jujubee placing high, she's going to be in the top 2. Besides that, literally every other placement is the same. Ms. Cracker is also in the top 2, as she won originally. Blair did place high originally, Shay was safe, and then, you know, Alexis and India and Mayhem were in the bottom. I This is a very interesting challenge to me because I feel like this one actually kind of is almost judged in the groups, and you technically could have judged in the groups if you wanted to. I guess if you're going to do that, then Alexis would be technically safe, along with Shay. But then you wouldn't have a top 3. Blair would just still be high, I feel like. But, you know, this is a weird one where it's kind of like you're already in teams, but like it's almost like it's weird to try and judge it like that almost. It's just odd. But yeah, placements are really almost all exactly the same. I very much considered taking Mayhem out of the bottom 2 and making her low instead, because I was laughing at some of Mayhem's parts of it. But I think just sadly due to the script of Mayhem and India's scene, it just wasn't. I don't think. I think you would have had to have done like I think you would have had to have made no mistakes, been completely perfect in order for you to not be in the bottom. Not even to win, just like not be in the bottom. Because I think Mayhem actually did a really pretty good job throughout the first half of her scene, but the second half it just kind of like teetered off. So that's what I chose to do. So Ms. Cracker and Jujubee are the top 2. They are going to lip sync to Where Have You Been by Rihanna. And I actually do think that Miss Cracker would win this. Miss Cracker did not do a bad job originally with this lip sync. And I think this one is kind of like high energy enough that I think Miss Cracker would just kind of like do her thing with it. And I just don't think Jujubee would do as well personally with this. Like I think, like I feel like it's kind of a similar situation to the lip sync to Reflex that was Jujubee and Blue Hydrangea on UK versus the World. I just think that due to the energy levels of the song, I think Miss Cracker would just kind of keep that up and Jujubee would maybe not go as hard with it. So that's what my gut's telling me, that Miss Cracker would win, Jujubee would lose. And originally, everybody voted for Mayhem, including Mayhem, so Mayhem would most likely go here. And we're going to move on to episode 5. But actually, before we do, I want to bring up something that I noticed while rewatching the She and Z challenge. And I don't remember this being a thing. I don't remember people talking about this when the episode aired. Um, I was kind of online with Drag Race at the time and like checking like Twitter and Instagram and things like that, but I wasn't super invested like on the like internet, discussion. But I need to take a look at these pictures. So you can tell from this picture and the next one that I'm going to show you that Carson is like in front of like a green screen here or something, and it's edited very badly. As you can see with his glasses in the middle there, the frame of the one glass that's in front of the wall in the background is gone. It is not there. It doesn't exist. So, and it exists in other scenes. So they obviously cut it out, like not meaning to in this part of it. And then you could tell in this next picture, the reflection with his glasses in the background is blue, and you can see the outline around his like head, and it's blue. And it's like, I'm just confused on what happened. Like, because like, if it was like, what was he actually standing in front of, and what with the editing fucked up that made this happen? And you can see it at different parts throughout. The video, like of the challenge on YouTube. Um, I believe the two clips that or the two pictures that I um, have set up for you all. The first one appears at like 3 minutes and 45 seconds, and the second one appears at like 3 minutes and 55-ish seconds. But you can see it throughout the whole of the challenge. Whenever it cuts to Carson, like 95% of the time, the little line around his head doesn't exist, but you can see like in the reflection of the glasses, you can see that like light blue color that you see. So I just want to know what the fuck happened here. And did everybody already know about this? Because I just noticed it while watching, and I was like, oh my god, what the fuck happened? So yeah, let's actually move on to episode 5 now. Alrighty, episode 5. Now, usually with this, top 2 All-Stars format and top 6 episodes, the way that I go about it is by doing a top 2, 2 contestants play safe, and then 2 contestants are in the bottom 2. This is one of very few exceptions that I'm going to make to this rule, because this is really the perfect example of a challenge in which there are 3 people who hit it out of the park and 3 people who just don't do well. So this episode is the Snatch Game. Alexis Mateo, Jujubee, and Shea Coulee all do a killer job with this challenge. They all do amazing. I think Jujubee's might be my favorite Snatch Game performance of all time. Even with, the recent Snatch Game successes of Jinx doing Judy Garland and like Lucy LaDuca doing Joan Rivers. Jujubee's, I think, is still my favorite of all time. I love this Snatch Game so much from Jujubee. And Alexis does a killer job as well as Walter Mercado. I mean, literally stealing the whole of the scene from literally, I think it was Miss Cracker in India in her group. She fucking killed it so hard. Shea originally won this challenge, but I feel like not a lot of fans, but I feel like a good amount of fans agree that Shea probably shouldn't have been like the winner, but she still did a very good job. She was my personal 3rd favorite on this challenge. Her Flavor Flav was I think one of the most fun like actual choices that we've ever seen for Snatch Game. It worked out really well. But she just wasn't in the top for me, but she still did a really good job with the Snatch Game, and probably certainly could have won the season 14 Snatch Game. But also could have won a lot of other Snatch games. Now I put Blair as low here because Blair's Ellen DeGeneres wasn't that bad. Like it wasn't like she had jokes that landed, you know? She had a couple of jokes that RuPaul thought were funny and that I thought were kind of funny. So you got to give her credit for that. From what we saw, none of the jokes that Ms. Cracker or India Ferris said landed. So I think it is pretty fair to make Blair St. Clair low here and at the bottom to be Ms. Cracker and India Farah. Alexis Mateo and Jujubee are going to be the top two, and they are going to have to lip sync to Open Your Heart by Madonna. And this is a weird one. I put Alexis as winning because I think she could, but also Jujubee probably could. I don't know. My gut, just immediate gut reaction is that Alexis wins this, but ultimately it doesn't really matter because they're all going to vote for India no matter what, I think, especially just like the bottom two of India and Ms. Cracker. And you know, this is the third week in a row that India Fair is in the bottom two. So, yeah, Alexis is going to win. India is going to be eliminated. We're going to move on to episode 6. Alrighty, episode 6, we have the RuPaul's Backyard Ball. Now, this is a weird one because this is like, it is literally phrased as a ball challenge, but like it's also kind of a comedy challenge in a way. And so that kind of was confused me with my rankings of this challenge because if you're going based off of pure outfits, not gonna lie, my bottom two would be Alexis and Ms. Cracker. Those were, if you're just purely looking at like the country, I think it's Country Cousin is the one outfit, and the like actual backyard ball outfit, and like looking at those outfits and which ones were my favorites, then I probably would have judged it as Shay and Jujubee are the top two, Blair is safe, Alexis and Ms. Cracker are the bottom two. That's I genuinely how I would judge it. But you also have the comedy element to it, which Ms. Cracker bodied so hard. So this was a hard one for me to do, but I kind of just trusted in the original rankings a bit with this and decided that the top two should be Shay and Miss Cracker. Miss Cracker originally won. Shay did a great job with this challenge. Her outfits were so good. The backyard wedding outfit and like the airbrush T-shirt were just they were so nice. So those are my top two for this. I think Jujubee did a pretty solid job. Yeah, her dress is like basically a tube, but it's a really good looking tube. Like it is. I mean, you cannot deny. Like it's literally like a tube dress, but like she decorated it and adorned it perfectly. It is the quintessential tube dress. I don't think she could have done it better, even though it is very basic. I still was great, and her comedy was funny to me. This really means that Alex Mateo and Blair St. Clair were the bottom two for me. I don't think either of them did bad in this challenge. They just did worse than the three on the top for me. But yeah, so our top two is Shea Coulee and Ms. Cracker. They're going to be lip syncing to One Last Time by Ariana Grande, and I do think Shea Coulee would win this lip sync. Now, in this scenario, throughout this whole season, we do not have the same kind of, conflict with like India and, telling like, oh, Alexis and Mayhem did this to you, Shay. We don't actually get any of that this season, which kind of does hamper the storyline of the season a bit, not gonna lie. Um, because really our main source of conflict throughout the season is just kind of gone because Alexis and Mayhem don't get the opportunity to vote for Shay. So we really don't have that. So I don't think we still have the same like energy directed towards Alexis, where in the actual season's final five, it was kind of the obvious choice to get rid of Alexis. Since we don't have that, I think the more obvious choice to get rid of is Blair, because if you're looking between Alexis and Blair, Blair has done worse in the competition so far, granted not by much. Looking at the pure track records of Alexis and Blair at this point, they're like 2 points apart. Alexis has just barely done better in the competition. So I do think they would probably keep Alexis in this scenario. And to go deeper into the actual storylines on this season, with the way that it would go in this scenario, I do think that main conflict, again, as I stated, between, Shay and Alexis and India and, everybody, would be, taken away. I do think we would get a more fun season in terms of the conflict and the competition would be about the different, high and top two placements that we get, because in the first three episodes, there are no repeat contestants in the top two. So I think it really, and the storyline of the season becomes everybody's done well. When is it gonna like come to a head and like who's gonna make the finale? Like that's the drama I feel like of this season. And then I do think we get um, a bit of time also with Jujubee is in the top in episodes 3, 4, and 5, all in a row, and is the first person to get to three top spots, placements, whatever you want to call them. So I think we also get that of like Jujubee, who's not won a challenge before, also like it soars to the top. Like literally the first 5 episodes is high, safe, win, top two, top two. And, are we going to tear down Jujubee or, is this Jujubee's time to shine? And I think, spoiler alert, with the track records at the end of the season, I do think Jujubee could win if you wanted her to. But we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I think Blair St. Clair probably goes here, and we're going to move on to episode 7. So this is a bit of an odd situation where we have this top two format with the final four. But since there's 8 episodes in the season, we kind of have to do this. There's really no other better way to structure it, I feel. So yeah, we have the comedy challenge here in episode 7. How would Alexis Mateo do? I don't think particularly well. If I remember correctly, she didn't. Was she high for the comedy challenge in season 3, or like the stand up, or was she low? She didn't win it. She wasn't in the bottom two. I honestly don't particularly remember, not gonna lie, at the top of my head. But I do think regardless, Alexis Mateo against this crowd probably wouldn't do the best job. I mean, I think maybe could do better than Jujubee, but I don't think would do better than Shay or Miss Cracker, who were my two personal favorites of this challenge. So I do think that the top two would be Miss Cracker and Shea Coulee, again for the second episode in a row, which means the bottom two has to be Jujubee and Alexis Mateo. Now, the top two lip sync is going to be to Fancy by Reba McEntire, and I think Miss Cracker would win this lip sync, 100%. Miss Cracker, I don't think did a bad job on this lip sync originally, and I do think I mean, Shay could do a very good job with lip sync as well. I just feel it from Ms. Cracker in this moment. But ultimately, it doesn't particularly matter again, because I do think they did play pretty fair on this season. I mean, really the only 2 times that, like in the original season, Alexis and Mayhem voted for Shay that one episode, but literally every single other time the vote was, like it literally every single vote, including the person that went home, was to the person who went home, or everybody voted for the person who went home except for the person who went home. So I do think most likely Alexis Mateo would go here. So we're going to be moving on to our final episode with our same final 3 as we had originally. Alrighty, in our finale, we have the clap back performance. I actually really like this song. It's a shame what they did with the audio editing on it, though, because during the actual episode, you're like, what is Jujubee saying? Like, it is like, it is not, I don't think it's any of their faults. I think it's just a pure audio editing, mess that ended up happening. But the actual clapback song I actually really like. It's one of the ones that actually gets stuck in my head a lot, just like the chorus. I really enjoy it. But I ended up for this video making it so that Shea Coulee was the winner because with the placements that I chose, Shea Coulee does have the best track record, but literally they're all so minutely close together. It's ridiculous that feasibly, whatever you wanted to choose, literally anybody could win this season and it would make enough sense. Everybody in this top 3 placed in the top 2 3 times. Shea Coulee is the only one without a bottom 2 placement, so that is a bit of a plus for Shea Coulee. And Shay and Miss Cracker each got 2 like wins with it, and they got to be like the ones who like chose to eliminate. Whereas Jujubee only gets 1, so that is it gives. I do think the implied order based off of the track records and kind of what you see throughout the season would probably be Shay, Miss Cracker, and then Jujubee. But frankly, you could literally choose anyone to win this season, and it would make entirely enough sense. So let's go to those track records, shall we? So these are the track records for the season. I personally, the way that I do these track records, if you don't know, is being eliminated is worth 0 points, a bottom placement is 1, low is 2, safe is 3, high is 4. And with the All Stars top 2 format, being in the top 2 and not winning the challenge is 4.5, and winning is 5. That's the way that I personally choose to do it. But, that's just, again, that's just kind of the way that I do it. So take that as you will and convert that into your own scoring system if you so choose. I do whatever you want. But yeah, as you can see, actually, oh, I was like, wait, does Miss Cracker do better than Jujubee? Yes, she does. I just put them in a slightly different order. I just put them in alphabetical order. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe if you wish. Leave a comment down below. Please follow me on my Twitter. I will link that down in the description below. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Please, yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, take care. Bye-bye.